Big news, Bank of Canada lowers their key interest rates. We talk about what that means to you as a consumer and our thoughts in this episode. Hi.
Good morning.
So, some big news.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it.
Real estate agents have nothing to talk about, but as soon as there's an announcement like a rate change.
You know what I laugh at? Realtors will go days, sometimes weeks without posting anything.
I'm guilty of it lately. I've not posted forever.
Instagram. Yeah, but you're busy and you're actually selling homes. I'm talking about, all the other people out there that have lots of time on their hands and they're not posting anything on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, anything.
Yeah.
And the rate announcement comes out and screenshot, post
What they should
it.
be doing is maybe a screenshot, like a green screen thing, but then talking about it.
Yes,
what does this mean? How does it affect you?
What? Yes.
Which is what we're talking about today.
Correct.
How does it affect you? How does it affect the market? Will it affect the market? What do we think? And I'm not allowed to look at your notes, apparently.
No, this was a culmination of myself and ChatGPT putting our heads together.
Oh, by the way, I signed up for ChatGPT 4.0.
Ooh, welcome to 2024.
I feel like I have a little assistant because she knows me.
How do you know how it identifies itself as?
I literally just said he or she. And I can probably...
Maybe it's a them or they.
I can tell it how to identify.
Maybe they identify as a cat.
No, I'm paying for it so I can tell it how to identify.
Did you go into settings and fill in your profile?
No, but I told it a blurb about me.
You should sit in on my training sessions once
No,
in a while.
I know about it. I just haven't had time to. But I did tell it a little spiel about myself and my family and our businesses.
So about 2-3 weeks ago, I gave you a printout with the Chat GPT prompt learning.
Yeah, that's in the garbage. I scanned it first, though.
Well, I could have just...
You love printing stuff.
I could have just... Yes, because having something tangible means you're more likely to see it more often.
I did. I saw it every day on my desk until I shredded it.
I'm glad. That's
I will read it though.
That's why so many of those things on your to-do list don't get done, is because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Perhaps.
Yeah, just like our KT sign.
No, it's on my list still, and it's in my mind, and it's going to be done.
It's June. We've got the keys for this place since January.
I ran into difficulties.
All right, so the Bank of Canada key interest rates down 1/4 point. We were expecting this.
Well, I don't know that I would say nobody really knew. And
nobody really knew,
TV
but
he was predicting it every announcement this year. They said, "Oh, it's going to be."
If you're at the roulette table and you're betting on black or red, and you have that gut feeling that black is coming in because 70% of the balls came in black, then that. Anyway, 1/4 point reduction in interest rates.
And yeah, I would say it's reasonable to say that most people felt it was the right time. It was due.
Yeah.
And it's been about 4 years since there was a rate reduction. It doesn't have a profound impact on things. I don't think we'll see a significant change in the market, but it certainly will and has instilled a little bit of confidence in the real estate market from a buyer's perspective and hopeful mentality from a seller's perspective.
So I was thinking about this a lot over the last few days. All of my credit is on variable. So I have 4 mortgages. They're all on variable. Line of credit, variable. So I did the math as to how that impacts me. And then I broke it down into how it impacts our clients. So I want to give you a scenario. If you are looking for $1 million mortgage today, which realistically, if somebody has a townhome or a condo and they want to upgrade because their family is growing, they need a 4-bedroom home, they want a detached home. A 4-bedroom detached home is 1.2 to 1.5 million on average around the Halton region for the most part. So if you have $1 million mortgage right now,
Actually, Robbie, can you confirm what the average mortgage is in Canada? Actually, Ontario.
I might have in Ontario, that might be different. Do you want to guess?
I would guess 650.
Average mortgage.
No. Sorry, not rate. Mortgage amount. Yeah. Thank you. I would think around 6 to 7.
That might be, might be high. Might
You
be
think so?
high.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
because
thinking a lot of.
think about all the baby boomers and the older generation that
Yeah,
bought at
that's.
very
I
low
guess that's.
values.
Yeah.
And then if you're thinking outside of the GTA,
Mhm.
you can buy a home still for $300,000.
This is true. I guess I'm thinking more our trading market, our primary trading
Right.
market.
In the GTA, that's
Yeah.
a whole different story. Anyways, if you're looking, we can break it down, but $1 million, it's easy to do the math. So before this rate reduction, let's just say you were at $1 million mortgage at a rate of 5.5. And based on Robbie's quick research there, 5.47 was the average. So 5.5 is realistic. You would have had a monthly mortgage payment, get ready to swallow, $6,136.
So what was on
a
$1
million
million
mortgage?
Yeah.
So that's $613 for every $100,000. So keep that in mind when you're out shopping for homes. A quarter point reduction brings it down $84 a month. So on $1 million on $1 million mortgage, which let's say it's a $1.23 million purchase, you put 20% down, which you have to. You finance $1 million if you qualify, and now you're saving $84 a month.
It's not significant.
Not a huge difference. That's not going to push somebody over the edge for buying a home or
I
not.
feel like those numbers are off.
Why do you feel like those numbers are off?
I don't know.
Okay, well, you can do your math.
I was going to see quick. 5.5 interest, term 25.
Sure.
6,100 roughly.
Right. 6136.
And then we're saying 5.25. 6,100 down to 59.59.
I think your numbers are off. Anyway, call it $100 a month you're saving. Okay, if you want to.
Yeah. Anyways, it's in that range.
Right.
So it's not, and that's why I don't think it's going to have a profound impact on people. And I think the average person doesn't have anywhere near $1 million mortgage. So the savings is not a whole lot. But I think it's the concept and
it's the mentality.
Right.
It's the mentality. And if you think about where a deposit comes from a buyer, it's oftentimes a line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, the $100,000 that you use as the deposit on your new home is pulled on your line of credit. Now you're paying a little bit less in interest during that period of time on that. So that saves you a bit of money. Obviously the mortgage rates. And I think now you'll see lenders get a little bit more aggressive on trying to buy up more business right now over the next few months. So they could be giving some special rates to those that have good credit, good equity, and good income. So I think it's the start of this a reinvigoration, if you will, of what's to come. So if you're thinking about buying, I'm pretty sure the prices are going to start to climb again.
I think it will, but I think it'll be at a steady, more predictable rate because if things go crazy again, then the Bank of Canada, the next announcement, will raise rates again.
And I think that's good for the market that it will be at a steady and more predictable rate, but you're still going to see those blips.
Of course. Well, we already have this year.
We have. And there's been some stabilization over the last few weeks. But again, back in February, we saw a nice little spike, came down a bit, leveled off. We saw.
I feel like that was a pretty substantial spike too. It happened over the course of, I'd say, like 2 weeks. Like it was pretty short. So it's incredible how, as a seller or a buyer, just being very aware of what's happening in the market and trying not to get overwhelmed by, sudden surges of activity, because things do change.
I'm going to test your historical knowledge.
You know my memory. I failed already before we even started.
Right. Well, this is a fun fact then.
Okay. All right. Bring it.
What was the highest prime rate ever in this country? What was the percentage?
Ever?
Ever.
I would have no idea. 15? No, higher than that.
Final guess?
Around 20.
And when was it?
The early 80s.
You're relatively close. The highest prime rate in Canada was in August of 1981.
Okay.
Just before you were born.
Yeah.
At 22.75%.
Not too bad.
So that was the prime rate.
But to go along with that, you need context. What was the average price of a home?
Right.
110,000.
Back then, 100 grand probably.
Yeah.
Less maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Hear those stories from your grandparents. Actually, there's one property we recently sold. Hasn't closed yet, so I won't give details. But when I was talking to the realtor on our team about strategy and list price and all of that, the seller's expectation was relatively realistic, but they initially didn't listen to our plan for the list price.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to push it higher, which we did a little bit, but within reason to still make it attractive. And I said, did you see what you paid for it in the 80s? Because it was like
they've been there a long time.
160 grand they paid for this place.
Yeah.
And sold for, let's say,
a lot
more than 10 times.
Yeah, but you can maybe use that as a tool to get somebody to come down off of an unrealistic number, but it really has no influence on anything.
Like any kind of market that fluctuates, whether it's stocks, collectibles, or
the market is what
minerals,
the market is,
and all of that. If you bought gold for $3 an ounce, and now however many thousands it is, has no relevancy. We already talked about payments and all of that. Here's one thing that I think people should know and understand is if you are, because we talked about this in the past many times, the relevancy of how relative the price increases with the mortgage rate decrease, right? So mortgage rates come down, prices of homes are naturally going to go up as demand increases. And oftentimes those balance each other out a lot. So your monthly payment might not be all that different. But if you're upgrading your home and prices are increasing, as a percentage, you will be paying more to upgrade your home as prices go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the conversation has to happen with a lot of elder people. So for those of you that are listening or watching, and you have parents that or grandparents that you've been nagging for a number of years, I know there's a lot of people out there that have this issue that tell their parents or their elderly family members, get the hell out of your house, sell it. You've got a lot of equity, move into a condo, be a snowbird, enjoy life. You don't need all this maintenance, yada, yada, yada. Now, as the prices go up, if they're thinking about downsizing over the next course of, the next 12 months would probably be a really nice opportunity for them to do that. Especially if they're looking at condos. The condo market, a lot of deals.
The condo market right now is awesome. If you're in the market for a condo.
If you're looking to buy a condo, whether it's an investment or a downsize opportunity or anything like that, really good opportunities now right across the GTA.
We could see that change, though. One of the reasons the condo market is good from a buyer's perspective is that there's so many of them. And I think there's so many of them because when you look at them, they're tenanted or vacant.
The
They're landlords,
investors,
investors who now can't carry them. I'm speaking with a gentleman not long ago who is in between tenants and he's on the fence of, do I sell or do I rent? Because if he sells, he loses money based on how much he paid for
and
it
if he
just a couple of
rents
years
it,
ago.
he loses
If
money.
he rents it, he loses $1,500 a month.
Right.
Like he's out of pocket $1,500 a month. But as that's an extreme.
What price of a condo?
600.
Yeah. So that's a lot. So like if you're losing 15, how does that math work? Holy crap. If you're losing $1,500 a month, 18 grand a year on a $600,000 condo, that's a 3% actual loss to your value of your property. Will the property appreciate more than 3% in this year, or as you project, if you hang on to it in the future?
Increase?
Or and at the same time, will rent increase?
Rent depending on the age of the property. There's a lot of moving.
Rent has
variables.
Increased quite a bit over the last number of years.
Yeah.
But that's keeping up with the rest of the inflation to taxes, maintenance fees, possibly utility costs, and obviously mortgage costs.
Well, now that investors are seeing that the rate has come down once, maybe again that's instilled some confidence in them about the market on in the near future. Perhaps there will be more, and maybe they'll say, okay, well, I'll hold on to it. I'll eat that cost, and then hopefully in a year I can refinance.
think you're hitting the nail on the head with that comment, because I think now investors will feel just a little bit of relief, and with the hopes and maybe even the understanding that there will be further rate reductions in the future. You're like, okay, this means that we're headed in the right direction as an investor. So you're going to see less inventory coming up for those kind of units in terms of selling, less selling off, which means less supply. And if the rates are coming down and more buyers are coming out, that supply is going to get eaten up. So I think the condo market over the next 12 months is going to see a relatively good uptick.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did you get the average mortgage?
Yeah, it's
406
in Ontario, 406,000 in Ontario. Yeah, you see, because of all of the bushland homes.
Yeah, well, not far off. But and then there's I would say that will change, quickly as baby boomers are selling off and renting.
So
younger people
hang on,
buying.
I'm gonna shift focus here for a second with that knowledge. So if the average, think about this, folks, the average mortgage is 400 grand. That means, well, if you're a first-time home buyer, maybe you're putting 5% down because under $1 million you can. So you could be buying a $425,000 home and mortgaging $400,000. That's realistic. There's a lot of homes actually in Ontario with that kind of availability. You can easily buy a home for $425,000, and you can easily find one that will rent out. So let's do that.
You're saying in Ontario?
In Ontario.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. Well, in the country. You look at what you can get in PEI for $425,000.
Yeah. You're talking just as a landlord.
Yes. So if you're a first-time home buyer and you cannot purchase a home where you want to live, we're big advocates of that you don't need to buy where you live. You just need to buy, and you need to own real estate. Right?
Yeah.
So if you buy something for 425, 450, call it 500 grand, but you're mortgaging 400. So based on our math of 600 and change, I think the numbers could work that you're not really losing much money right now on a monthly basis, because the areas that you can buy for 400, 450, if you look at it, we've talked about Huntsville, we've talked about even, well, Woodstock might not be a prime example anymore because there's a lot more property there, but there's areas that we've talked about in the past where the rental supply is quite low, like unreasonably low. People can't find places to live, meaning that the rent prices are quite high.
Well, they've come down a fair bit now, though. They I feel like they peaked at the beginning of the year, and now I was talking with Chris earlier today about that, and they've come down again. I don't know why. I don't think there's been a surge of inventory. I think people are just
What was the example of what you guys were talking about?
um no particular home, just a generic conversation about prices. Where some of the properties we've leased and some of the ones that he's going to show not long ago were renting out for more money. But just like the resale market, it
Yeah,
was a blip.
supply and demand
Uh,
issue.
Combination of supply and demand, and maybe people just tenants putting their foot down and saying, "Fuck it, I'll just live here for a while until things change."
Are you swirling that like it's a glass of wine? You
I
miss
haven't,
drinking?
I haven't been drinking much, so I'm trying to make up for it.
You should get some natural additives for it. Actually, you know what I was thinking of getting?
Well, I have like a kombucha at home and like sparkling water with flavors. Not much.
Kombucha.
What did I say?
Kombucha.
Kombucha, tomato.
On that note, kombucha later.
Sure. See ya.
Bye. That's it. Thanks for watching or listening to episode 291 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. We'll see you next week.